Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Great Black Speakers Podcast, where we connect through conversation. I am your host, Lawrence Watkins. I am the founder and CEO of Great Black Speakers Bureau. I'm also the president and chief operating officer of the Black Business School. So today we have a very special guest. I'm excited to talk with Ms. Constance Carter. And Constance is the CEO of Catalyst Real Estate Professionals. They are the largest African-American owned real estate firm in California. And today we're talking about the secret to the secret of breaking the broke code. I think I messed that up. I apologize, but we're going to get it right this next time around. But we're going to talk about just the secret of breaking the broke code and what it all takes to make that happen. And Constance, how are you doing today?
Oh, I am wonderful. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, well, we're excited to to have you here, and can for the audience, I guess the members who don't know much about you, can you tell a little, excuse me, can you tell them a little bit more about yourself and how you've gotten to this point in your career?
Okay, so first of all, I'm a wife. I've been with my husband since I was 15 years old. We have four awesome, beautiful, and amazing children, a daughter in college, HBCU, Hampton University, and three boys. And like you said, I'm the owner of Catalyst Real Estate Professionals, and we are the largest African-American owned real estate firm in California. That entails a real estate school, a lending firm. We also lend our own money. We're a direct lender. And I'm also a cannabis investor. So I'm an investor. I'm not a partaker. I don't know anything about, the other end of the business. I just go collect my money when it comes. Um, People ask me all the time. That's why I had to preface that. And have a couple of best-selling books, The Secret to Breaking the Broke Code, Keeping Score, What You Need to Know to Make Your Credit Score Grow. But really, I think the most important piece of my work is just being a wealth activist. So my goal is to really help to bridge the wealth gap and help the underserved really get to a space and understanding of what they need in order to build wealth and create legacies for their family, their children, and children's children. I like what Beyonce said. She said her grandchildren's children is going to be on the Forbes list. So that's the goal, is to help other people that look like you and I to not only be that, but get our children's children on there as well. So that's where I am.
That is a lot. So if you see me typing, don't worry about that. I'm just taking notes
It's
because
all
a lot
good.
of questions, just came to my mind, came to my head. But I mean, I want you to talk a little bit more though, in terms of your journey, right? In
Okay.
terms of, how you've gotten to become this successful entrepreneur, investor, expert, as it relates to, growing and building wealth. What did that journey look like? So, I mean, I know you talked about meeting your husband at age 15. What has that progression been like to this, not even finished product, but the current product that we see as Constance Carter?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think that's probably the most critical or important piece to the story, because it's because of the journey is the reason why I am where I am today. Just 10 short years ago, I was bankrupt, bad credit, 379 credit score. And what I did is I basically took the things that I learned, like my hardships, and I created a blueprint so that I could help other people. And so being bankrupt, and the 379 credit score, I had to learn how to do credit, and I started helping other people. And that's why I wrote the book about credit, and it became a bestseller. The Secret to Breaking the Broke Code, that is a story, or that is a book that is really about my journey, where I came from. At 18, I was homeless, sleeping in my car. I have, although I was, a really good student, a strong student, I didn't go past, I don't have a post-secondary education. I got what I call a PhD, a public high school diploma. And so with that, I've had to just do a lot of investing in myself. And there's been, I think one of the things that was really important for me growing up is when I was 7 years old, my aunt told me that I can be or do or have anything that I wanted to, because I was equally as important as the president of the United States. And that was a game changer for me, because I think, as Black children, we come into this world a lot of times having an inferiority complex just because of the things that are put out there subliminally, right? So I remember when I was like 4 and I wanted this doll, and my mom bought me the black doll, and I was like, that's ugly. But I realized that was a reflection of what I thought of myself, because of the things that are put out there. So when my aunt told me at 7 that I could do or be or have anything because I was equally as important as the president of the United States, I thought, wow, I can do, that means I deserve everything that everybody else has. And so that's how I kind of live my life, is just thinking that, if they have it, then why can't I? They're no better than me. She said, you're no better than anybody, but you're no worse than anybody. You are equally as important. And so that always stuck with me. So through the life's journey, as you have your ebb and flow, you have your ups and downs, you have your peaks and valleys. I always knew that there was always something that was better for me, even when I made bad decisions, even when, I was making all this money, but I was spending even more, making $250,000, had more month than money. I still knew that it was going to be greater later. So I think that was the thing that kind of sustained me, but it was what I had to go through so that I could be a living witness for other people, to let them know that the possibilities are possible. So that's pretty much my journey. I mean, I've been everywhere on the map, but I just believe in using your hardship as a blueprint to really help other people.
Yeah, so I want to go back to this education piece in terms of, you stopping your formal education after high school. But, just because you didn't, I guess, have that formal education, how did you go about educating yourself to get to the point where you are now? So what did that look like in terms of, additional courses, experience? Like, what did you do to, make sure you became this knowledge expert that people, go to for advice?
I think that's really important. So I think because I didn't go to college, I had this chip on my shoulder. You are in my mind. I always think, as a Black woman, you got to run faster, jump higher, work harder, just to be in the game, right? So I come in here with this thing that says you have to do extra. You don't have a degree, so then you're going to have to invest in yourself. So I always am I'm a fervent learner. So I'm always at somebody's conference or workshop, taking training somewhere, trying to improve myself. I invest in coaches. I have several coaches. That's paramount. Michael Jordan couldn't win the championship without Phil Jackson. So I believe a coach is paramount to your success. And I've always been in, some type of leadership training, leadership development, to show me how to be the best leader that I can be. So I believe in investing. I mean, I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, at least $100,000 investing in myself, and it's paid off. It's paying off. I haven't arrived, but it's definitely paying off.
Yeah. So, what was your first job out of high school?
So my first job out of high school, that's funny that you asked. I was a security guard for HP. I was 18. I was security guard for HP. And I ended up parlaying that position to actually get on permanently with HP. I had several jobs in between. Then I do have some college. So then I was a college intern, I was in this program, and ended up becoming a permanent employee of HP, and went into the IT direction. So I was an IT analyst, working on computers and networks and things like that before I got into real estate. So HP, like that was my way through and through.
All right. And when you started in real estate, did you start as a real estate agent, as an investor off and out the gate? What did that transition look like in terms of going from IT to real estate, and then
Yeah.
also going from employee to, I guess, something else, whatever that next step was for you?
Employees, really to entrepreneur, because as an agent, you're not just selling houses, you're really running your business. And that's one of the things I do now as the broker of record. I'm not teaching people how to sell homes, I'm teaching people how to run businesses. So I got laid off. So I'm in the Silicon Valley. I'm in, .com. When the .com bubble bursted, I was one of those people who got laid off. And actually I was at Cisco Systems. I had left HP and went to Cisco, and I had gotten laid off, but I was getting my real estate license. So when I was 23, my husband and we got married, 22, had a baby, 23, and bought our house at 23. And so I really liked real estate. I had a horrible experience. I had a horrible agent, but I liked what it did. I liked what it meant for me. And one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to help other people. I wanted to help them to avoid what I had been through, but I wanted to help give them the opportunity, because a lot of people that look like me that were in my circle didn't think that owning a home was possible. My brother, he just thought I'm destined to live in an apartment for the rest of my life. And so one of my missions was to help each and every one of my family members to get into homes. And now they have a home or two, so that was really important to me. But getting into that, I had gotten laid off. And even before then, I was going to go into real estate, and I was going to quit my job. And I was interviewed with these brokers, and they told me, you're not going to be successful in real estate. You keep your day job. This is unstable. You don't want to do this. And so I was like, okay, I was discouraged, but it was also something that I believe that God had placed on my heart to do. And I really just wanted to do it to help people. That was the sole mission in my business, was just to help people in one way or another, help people that look like me, help people who were like me, help people who were my age, at the time in my 20s. So when I got laid off, it was perfect timing because I was already in the process of getting my license, and it was just like do or die. One thing, when we bought our house, I'm from San Jose, which is the heart of the Silicon Valley, which is the most expensive housing market in the country. So I couldn't buy a house there. So I had to go about an hour, hour and a half out. And I was commuting every day, and I just had this baby that I wasn't able to enjoy. I just bought this beautiful house I wasn't able to enjoy. So that was my motivation to like jump out of employee mode and into employer or entrepreneur mode, because I just didn't want to do that commute anymore. And so that was the fire that had fueled me to just be successful. And so the great thing is, the first year I had matched my salary. I was making $70,000 at the time in IT, and I matched that the first year, and never made anything under six figures since that year. But it was because of those, we've had some hard times and hardships, but just that drive of wanting to enjoy my life, just wanting to kind of create a life and design a life on my own terms. When I was growing up, I wanted something very different than what I had. And that's why I worked so hard at it. And pretty much that's the thing that I'm so passionate about, with helping other people to design the lives that they want to have, because I know it's possible to do.
For the people who are just tuning in, I'm here with Constance Carter. Constance is the CEO of Catalyst Real Estate Professionals. They are the largest African-American owned real estate firm in the state of California. She is also the author of The Secret to Breaking the Broke Code. And and today we're talking about the secret to breaking the broke code, and just about her life and her experiences as being an entrepreneur, a mother, an investor. So if you guys like this video, please go ahead and press the thumbs up button. Please show us some love, so more people show us some love out there in the world. YouTube shows us some love. We really appreciate you for just pressing the thumbs up button. It only takes 1 second to do so. Make sure that you share this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you would like to receive more content with like we're doing today with Constance. All right, Constance, I want to talk about your family then during this time of transition, right? Because that's unique, right? So you met your husband, I think you said when you were 15. I can't remember if you said that off camera or on camera. Yeah,
No,
but
15.
you mentioned, at 15 years old, you guys got married at age, what, 20, 21?
I was 23, 22. I was 22.
Okay, 22, and you had a
He was
child
20 at 23.
So you had a child at 23. Your first child at 23. Tell me about that, right? In terms of being a not super young mother, but relatively young mother, a young wife.
Yeah.
You guys are just trying to make it together. What was that experience like, especially during that transition from working in IT, moving to real estate in your own business after you got laid off?
That was one of the toughest times. And I remember there was a time when my husband and I weren't working. And I remember we were just struggling. Like at one time, we were a couple of months behind on our mortgage. And I remember talking to my friend Lakeisha, and she was like, because I always had this positive outlook, because again, that voice that voice in the back of my mind that my aunt told me of what I deserved. And she used to just say, like, how are you so positive? And this is 24, 25-year-old young lady. And she said, how are you so positive, even though you're going through all these things? And I said, because I know that where I am today is not where I'm meant to be. And so I always knew that my life was destined to be greater. And it's just a mindset, right? So at the time, when I got laid off, my layoff was planned. So we knew for a couple of months I had a severance package. And when I went out on my own and doing real estate, my husband, he was like, I'll hold it down until you build your business, and I'll pay all the bills, and you just help. And the day I came home from the last day of my job, I was excited. That hour and a half commute felt like 20 minutes because I was so excited about getting home and just excited about starting this new life. And I remember telling my husband, I'm home, I'm so excited. And he had this look on his face, and come to find out he had gotten laid off too, same day. So we had to just figure it out. So it was like, okay, my plan A became a plan B, and we still had to go all in. And so it was just like, okay, it's grind time. What are we going to do? And I keep the same spreadsheet that I did when in 2002 when I first started, 2003. And you could see like every month I was investing in my business. So whether it was $100, $25, $50, whatever it was, I had money going in, going out when there was no money coming in, because I believed in investing in myself. I knew that it takes money to make money. I didn't have a whole lot, but I knew I had to do something. So whether it was advertising in the newspaper or, I was before social media, whatever it was, whatever it took, I knew I had to invest. So January, because I got my license late November, so December. So January is really when I started. So January, money going out, no money coming in. February, same thing. March, April, May, money going out, no money coming in. And I think I closed my first deal in July. But I had all the sewing that I had done during that time, July to December, 5 months, $70,000 that I made in the 5 months on a 50-50 split in real estate. So that was just, that was the belief, that was going all in, that was, no matter what, knowing that you just got to go for it, and having that mindset that, I want this life, and under no uncertain terms am I going to settle for anything less. And that's what you just have to do. And I just remember watching stuff growing up on different shows when people would say like, if I can do it, you can do it too. And I used to believe them, and I was like, yeah. And so I just took that and thought, yeah, if they can do it, I can do it too. And I preach the same thing. Like, I am not the smartest knife in the shelf. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shelf, but I got hustle. Like, I am not the big idea person. I don't have the best ideas, right? I just mastermind with people who do. And half of those people, they not implementing, but guess who is? So I just take all the great ideas that I hear from other people, and I implement and execute. And so you don't have to be the smartest person. You just have to really align yourself and be around smart people. And that's what going to all the conferences and the workshops and the training, that's what that does. It puts me in those places where I'm around smart people like yourself and like boys, and where I could just, sit there and glean from these people. And then I can go home and say, okay, you know what? Let me implement some of the stuff that I learned. Because every time I go out to a conference or something like that, I go with the intention and I say, there's somebody here that's going to change my life, whether they're on stage or whether I'm on stage or we're in the elevator or in the bathroom. I'm going to meet somebody that's going to change my life in some way. And so going with that intentionality, it's been paramount to, I think, my successes.
Got you. Yeah. So, I heard three really key things there, and I want to ask a more tactical question in regards to the early days of building your business. And the reason I'm focusing on the early days is because that's where a lot of people in our community are. They're
Sure.
looking to make that first step, and they want to know, like, what are the first steps to get from being an employee to being an entrepreneur, or being an entrepreneur to being a successful entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the three things that I heard from you are, belief, faith. I guess those might be the same thing, but and then also just surrounding yourself with networking, but surrounding yourself with, people who know more than you, or who in a particular area, or who may have other ideas, but because you have that unique ability to know how to execute. Right.
Yeah. It's important.
And yeah, and I just want to know, in the early days, what were you executing upon when you were hustling? What were you hustling doing? Yeah, so that's the question. What were you hustling doing at that particular time?
Yeah. So education is key. And again, that's why it's important today when I have brand new agents, is I'm making sure that they have the proper education. But the education piece, whatever your craft is, you need to be the subject matter expert at whatever your craft is. So that means taking trainings. That means GTS. You know what GTS is, Lawrence?
Now, what's that?
That's Google that shit, right? You need to, but everything is available to you. So whatever it is that you want to do, you need to become the expert at it. So whether you are going to a meetup, networking event, conference, class, Googling, YouTube, whatever it is, like just hone in on it and really dial down and learn as much as you possibly can. And so after I've learned as much as I possibly can, okay, well now that you now you have to put the practice into place. So that hustling came from, now I got ideas. So I went from, okay, I got my, I'm twirling my thumbs, right? I got my real estate license. What am I supposed to do? To, okay, I've done all the studying, I've done all the training. Here's what I'm going to do. You put a plan in place, you write down the things that you want to accomplish, and then you just execute on those steps. So it's really like a brain dump. That's what I would say. I would do a brain dump, and then I would organize that brain dump, and then I would put it in order, and then just start walking through it. And that sense of accomplishment when you're able to just check things off your list is epic. So I think that's critical to your success, is just educating yourself and then executing on whatever you learn. I think one of the problems with a lot of people is they get so caught up in just thinking about stuff. We mask our procrastination as planning because we're afraid. We have this fear of launching, and we have to just get out of the thinking part, the procrastination, and just do it, even if you're not all the way ready, even if you have some fears, even if people are telling you that you're not ready. You still just got to do it. And if you fail, if you get embarrassed, whatever it is, just do it anyway, because it's better done, right, than not.
Yeah, somebody said this. I can't remember who said this recently, but I'd rather be half-assed than no ass, or something like that. Yeah,
that's right. Right.
But if I have two half-assed projects, I need to take one and become whole-assed or something.
Come on, I love it.
Yeah.
Two half-assed, I can be whole. Or yeah. I heard one. Somebody said, "Beta now, better later." You know what I mean? Beta now, better later.
Yeah.
Just do something. Do something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's something I struggle with, right? Because Boyce and myself, probably myself more than Boyce, are those thinker types. Boyce is definitely a thinker, but he's more impulsive than I am, and he'll get stuff just launched out there, even if it's not the best quality product that we could have just put out for the first iteration.
Yeah.
But in the entrepreneurship space, or the Silicon Valley space, they always say, if you're comfortable with the launching of your product, that means you've launched too late. Right. Yeah. And, I like working with Boyce because he pushes me to, get things out much quicker than I would normally get things out, by myself. Right. And I think that's true for any beginning entrepreneur. Is, you're not going to have the perfect product when you first launch. It's going to take you a really long time. I mean, not too long, but it'll take you a year or two, or at least, before you continue to iterate to get a product that is, fully mature. It might even take you 5, 6, 7 years too, right?
Right.
And, that's something that you just need to know. And one thing that was a revelation to me is when I was looking at other competitors and just looking at other people in the marketplace, and, just people in my circle, a lot of them were making quite a bit of money by having a product that was great, but it still wasn't perfect, right? And they still had mistakes that they made along the way. But those mistakes were masked by something that they did extraordinarily well, that people wanted to connect with. That could be the content, it could be the brand, it could be just any number of things. But doing that one thing extremely well, that people say, no, Constance Carter or Lawrence Watkins are still the go-to persons, when it comes to X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So yeah, no, I mean, I think that's awesome.
I tell you what, I've seen some BS. I've seen some BS out there. So, and people made money, like a lot of money. I've seen people make a lot of money on, I don't want to call it garbage, but at the end of the day, it's not a quality product. But it doesn't mean that it's not worthy of being out there. Because, hopefully they'll improve upon it as it goes by. But I've spent thousands of dollars on stuff, and I'm like, really? I spent all this time overthinking this project that I'm doing, and you can tell me I could have just had it out, a couple of months ago. This person is doing it, and it was really the sales pitch that, got me motivated to buy it. And then when you got it, it's like, wonk, 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 wonk. So I'm not saying to do that. I'm not saying to put out garbage, but I am saying to just do something, just launch.
Yeah, man. We could, talk all day about that. I definitely agree. with what you said. And I'm a product guy at heart, actually. So I love product. I love making an extraordinarily good product. In the marketing thing, I had to train myself on, right?
Yeah,
So I think a lot of people out there, they just want to make the best product possible. But just because you have the best product does not mean that you're going to win in the marketplace, right?
absolutely. I mean, look at
Yeah, yeah.
the Apple. I mean, the first
Mhm.
iPhone, like they have probably iPhone 20 already ready, but they're gonna put out all these other ones that they say are the best, but they know that they're not the best. But they're gonna put them out there for you anyway because they have something that better already in the pipeline that's gonna come out later. And so we just have to look at it that way, in that just put something out. Again, just don't just put trash out, but just put something um, of value, because so many times I think the world will miss out on something great because of our failure to launch, our failure to do something. So don't think about it just for you, just think about it for those people who need what it is that you have.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I really want to go to the next question, but then just more things keep popping up. But my friend Julian, so shout out to Julian Gordon. He's one of the instructors in the Black Business School.
Yeah.
He's over our multifamily mastermind, our Black Real Estate Investors Group. But he always talks about if you have the cure to cancer. So if
Mm.
you have the cure to cancer, would you hold it in? Would you not tell anyone you have the cure to cancer? No, you'll probably tell everybody that that, look, I found the cure to cancer. It's doing X, Y, and Z. You need this. Like if you have cancer, you need this,
Yeah.
product right now,
Right.
right? Because you truly believe in your product in terms of solving a huge problem that someone is having.
Right.
Well, he always, talks about you have somebody's cure to something, right? It may not be cancer,
Mm.
but it's something that you have a cure to, and
Right.
you need to have that same fervor, that same, I guess, diligence when it comes to the cure that you have for another product or to another problem via your product or service, then that as you would if you had the cure to cancer as well. So
Absolutely.
I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
But I'm here with Constance Carter. Constance is the CEO of Catalyst Real Estate Professionals, the largest African American owned real estate firm in California. Today, we're talking about the secret to breaking the broke code. She's the author of the book by the same name. If you guys like this interview, please go ahead and show us some love by pressing the thumbs up button. Also, make sure that you share and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. So, Constance, I want to talk about you moving from being, I guess, a real estate agent and just this idea of being an entrepreneur, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
To becoming an investor,
Hmm.
right? And, um, you know, is there a difference between those two things in your eyes? And
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. And I guess if so, then what did that transition look like? And what does that difference look like for you?
So I think it was probably a natural progression, and probably for most people who are seriously, real estate agents. So I went from being a real estate agent, and I was an investor in that space. Ended up losing some of my properties when the real estate market crashed back in 2008. So foreclosed on some, short sold some, and really had to ramp up and get back into that. But then I became a broker, and the reason why I became a broker, so went from real estate agent, and I always did business differently. So in most spaces in real estate, you're it's very transactional, right? They're calling, they're cold calling. They're like, I'm going to call 100 people, get 10 leads, get this many prospects to get this many appointments, to close this many deals. And I always looked at it a little bit differently, more transformational about how can I help you? And that's just been a core thread throughout my business. How can I help you? How can I help you? So I'm like, how do I help you, your mom, your dad? Did home buyer workshops, went into the community, just rolled up my sleeves. And so um, in 2009 or 2010, I opened up a Catalyst Real Estate Professionals. A Catalyst is a change agent. It's an agent that causes significant change. And that name is of course significant to what it is, our core values within the company. But also um, uh, going from that and then creating a real estate firm that had the same core values that I had done business with was very important for me. Just going from transactional to transformational, and then creating a transformational form where you have like-minded people who want to do the exact same thing, and that's just help people. And so there's so many people that need help in this in this country, just because of systematic racism, because of redlining, because of bad loans, all of those things, we are in a prime position to help so many people who've been victims. And so just having that, I tell my agents all the time, like, you guys should always be eating because there's so many people that need help. So going from that, the agent to the broker, and really creating a culture and an environment to where we're helping people, just like Justin does, we also teach people about how to invest in multifamilies. That's super important. How to play Monopoly, how to get the most on the board, how to create really real, true, sustainable wealth. And that is through, getting duplexes and triplexes and multifamily properties. That's something that we teach people. So for example, one of my clients, she was not even 30, bought a duplex, 3.5% down FHA, kept that for 6 months because we're in California, bought a triplex. We refinanced her out of that FHA loan into a conventional loan, purchased another property, FHA 3.5% down. Then took that, refinanced that into a conventional loan, and then she got into a fourplex. So now she has what? 9 units, 2, 5, 6, 7, 9 units or 9 doors with minimal, because she only put that initial 3.5% down out of her pocket. And now she has 9 units and is able to, and they all pay for each other. So she's getting the equity and she's getting the extra income every month, the cash flow. And so those are the principles that we're teaching our people, because it's a very, very, very necessary system that's needed. That's, a single family home in California. Absolutely. I believe in those too, because you're able to build wealth from those as well. But getting those multi-units, that's paramount to really being able to achieve true wealth. So I teach it inside, and the same stuff that I tell my agents to teach to the people, they live by the same thing as well. So we practice the same stuff within.
Got you. And I want to talk a little bit more about that, actually, specifically about real estate, and then a more general question about your investments and how you go about managing all these different projects that you are a part of as well. Right. But first off, shout out to Black Mama Tea and Cafe. She's in here in YouTube. She said, "What up? What up, my girl? Love you, Constance."
Hey, how you doing, Vanessa?
Yes, as well. So, and of course, if you guys don't know Black Mama Teas, she's doing some awesome and wonderful things.
I'm an investor in her company.
There we go. So there we go. She's been in a lot of pub, a lot of press, and just doing a lot of things differently, and on a very high level as it relates to Black power, black type of investments as well.
Right.
But I want to just talk about numbers now, right? One thing that I've noticed with people who are in real estate is they have this knack or this ability to spit off a whole bunch of different numbers very, very quickly, right? And I think that can be intimidating to people that aren't really in the space.
Sure.
Even myself, I have a degree in engineering, MBA, highly, I guess, educated from a formal perspective, has always been, relatively good with numbers from a certain type of perspective, but I'm learning that real estate is a different type of numbers game in terms of how people are talking and what they're thinking about. So can you talk about that a little bit more or can you talk to the people who may be scared to get into real estate because of a lack of something? So either a lack of capital, a lack of understanding the numbers, a lack of just, something that's like keep them like from, getting to this, this long-term real asset type of game.
Yeah. So here's what I say. I say, if you have a job, you can own a home, period. Right. So whether it's a single family, a duplex, multifamily, whatever, let's start there. You got a job? Cool. Let's do the whole pivot table. Yes. All right. Now, how's your credit? Right. And so if you have issues with credit, that can be overcome. And a lot of times that's the big bad wolf that people are really scared to try to kind of attack. And I wrote a book about credit, and it's an easy read. You can sit down and read it within an hour. I mean, really, it gives you tips and tricks on how to improve your score relatively quickly. I've had people improve their score 100, 150 points within a month by just the principles, the general principles in the book. So credit is not as scary as a lot of people think. So you have a job, Now you have decent credit. It doesn't have to be the best credit. You could have a 580 credit score. You can get some down payment assistance. So say you don't have money for down payment. Say you don't have money saved up. Say you don't have a parent that could gift you the money. Say you don't have 401k. Now, if you have all those three things, use those. If you have money saved up, use that for a down payment. So let's talk numbers. So say, for instance, you buy a $200,000 property and you can get an FHA government insured loan. That's 3.5% that you put down. So $200,000, 3.5% of $200,000 is what? Come on, math whiz.
Oh, sorry, 3.5% of 200,000. So
Uh-huh.
6,000 something dollars,
Yeah.
6,500 maybe.
So 6,500, right? Or excuse me, 7,000, right? So
7,000. Okay.
$7,000. You have $7,000, you can afford possibly to purchase a $200,000 house. Well, if you don't have the $7,000, maybe you can get down payment assistance. Maybe you can get, maybe you can even borrow money. A lot of people didn't know that you can actually borrow money as long as when your debt to income ratio, it allows you to be able to afford the house that you want. So you could still borrow your down payment as long as it fits within the equation of your debt and your income with qualifying. But say you get down payment assistance, you get into that home and you keep it for a little bit, right? Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. You keep that one property. Then at some point when you gain equity, when the value grows, you can pull cash out of that. You can either sell it, pull cash out, refinance it, and then you purchase your next property with very minimal out of pocket. And then you take the equity out of the next one, and then you purchase your next property with very minimal down. It's not a hard thing to do. And people get overwhelmed by it all, but it is not a hard process. And if you're working with the right individuals, then they could sit down with you and help you build out your wealth plan and figure out what your portfolio is going to look like.
Got you. And I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. And that leads me actually back because you mentioned credit one more time, and that's something I wanted to make sure that I touched on. When was it that your credit score was a 350 something?
379. It was
379
in 2009. And the cool thing is, the bankruptcy just dropped off my credit report in May of last year. I just hit my 10 years. So I finally hit the 800 club because my credit would not go above 800 with that big old bankruptcy, even though it was 8.5, 8.75 years old. So 379. And that was a result of me having houses foreclosed, short sales, credit cards gone bad. I had a baby that I had to put his birth in the bankrupt. Like there was just so much stuff. And yeah, I hit rock credit bottom. And within a year of filing bankruptcy, I was at almost a 700 credit score.
Oh, wow. So I want to talk. Yeah, I want to talk about that actually. But first I want to talk about this, I guess, next big rock to your life, maybe in terms of when the market crashed, you had all these things going on. And how many kids did you have in 2009?
I just had my fourth child.
4 children. So you have 4 children, a husband. You have this business, whatever. Becoming a broker, I guess during this time.
Yeah.
Talk about that more, right? In terms of the managing of family life and the ups and downs of being an entrepreneur and investor. Like, what does that look like?
Man, that was tough. I had to often make decisions on whether I was going to pay my mortgage or pay my office lease. You know what I mean? And so making those hard decisions, it really makes you look at business. But I believed in myself and I said, okay, we're going to bet on us. We're going to bet on this business because I really, really believe that we can come out of this. But I filed bankruptcy in 2009. 2010 is when I opened my doors. So it was really a fresh start. But even still, early on, opening my own door to my own company, there was still some struggle. There was still some smoke. I was making good money, $200,000-$300,000 a year, but now I have all those expenses, and it was feast or famine with any business. You have times where everything is great, and then you have some time where you can't hardly eat. And so I had to just figure it out and tough through there. But I'm so grateful. I have my assistant, Glenda, that's been with me since before I opened up. And she's like, if you ever see the Bible, in the Bible, who's that? Moses. And Aaron, like that one that lifted up his arm when he couldn't lift up, that was my Glenda. Um, Oprah said, you want people who's gonna ride the bus with you when when the limo breaks down. You know, you need to have people like that in your life that believe in you, even when you don't believe in yourself. So just having those people that were like, pushing me, she sacrificed for the betterment of the business. And we both, like, we struggled. There were times when we neither one of us was gonna get paid. And I remember I got a call. This is before I stepped out on my own, but we were in the same office, and I got a call from the title company saying that this deal wasn't gonna close before Thanksgiving. And put down the phone. It was real quiet, and I had this tear coming down my eye. I didn't know later on she had a tear coming down her eye. I think she was facing that way, right? I'm facing this way. We struggled, and she, like, that's my ride or die. But to have somebody that was there and seen it all and still, believed in me more than I believed in myself, and pushed me and encouraged me to keep moving, keep going. Like, you need that. You need that. And that's part of the reason why I have the successes that I have, is just keeping those people around me. And then being, just honoring that loyalty, right? Honoring that loyalty. And just making sure that she's taken care of at all times. Like, whatever she needs, she got it, because the way she believed in me. And so understanding that no matter where you are, you always got to make sure you honor the people who've been down for you from day one. So
that's right. Yeah. So now anytime I think of you, I'm going to think about the term believer.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
belief,
All right.
keeps popping up over and over again in your or in your wording, in your choice of words. So
Well,
believer, yeah.
The secret to breaking the bro code is it's actually an acronym. And so the first B is actually belief. So not just in yourself or believing in a higher power, but believing that you actually deserve what it is that the world has for you. So belief is a core piece of my story and my life. Is just, you got to believe beyond what you see right now, because right now might not look so good, but knowing that it's going to be greater later, that's what keeps me going.
Got you. Well, let's talk about that then, right? So, two things I want to talk about before we end this three things I want to talk about before we end this conversation. One, I want you to break down the broke code to everyone that's here.
Oh,
Two, I want you to talk about credit, just a little bit in terms of how you improved your score from 379 to 700 in 1 year, what that looked like. And three, I want you to talk about your upcoming conference that you have in California.
Ooh.
So
we're
knock out those things.
Yeah. So the bro code, the secret to breaking the bro code, it is an acronym. And like I said, well, one of the things that we have to understand is our tongue is everything. So the reason why we don't have it or we have lack is because of the things that we say that come out of our mouth, because our words are singularly the most powerful force in the universe. They can be used for good, they could be used for evil. And so a lot of times we're in this broke space because we just say that we broke. You think about all the people who said things in their life, like Tupac. He talked about dying all the time, and guess what happened? What happened to Tupac? He died. Or Biggie, his first album was Ready to Die. What happened? He died. And even recently, these rappers that talk about it. So we have to understand that our words are powerful. But the B in breaking the bro code is belief, and like I mentioned, is believing that you deserve it. The R is being ready to receive it. So not just being in the right place at the right time, but being the right person in the right place at the right time. So I'm an investor in a marijuana dispensary, right? And it was a 6-figure investment. And I could have had those opportunities back when I filed bankruptcy, but every little penny that came in, I spent it. I wasn't the right person mentally at that time to be able to take advantage. I could have been investing in more real estate at the time when it was rock bottom. I did not have the means. I wasn't the right person in the right place at the right time. So being ready when those opportunities present themselves is paramount. The O is being obsessed with your success. Obsession is extremely important if you want to get anywhere in life. Book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, when he talked to those 500 millionaires, it was like one of the recurring things where they were obsessed with their success. And we have to want it just that bad. And then K is just being knowledgeable, investing in yourself, investing in a coach, doing whatever it takes in order to be the subject matter expert at whatever it is that you want to do. And E is just being economical with your money, with your life, with everything, don't spend everything that comes out, and it'll put you in a position to make better decisions. When you have money and you start a business, you're not really, you're not acting out of desperation. When you're economical, if you know how to run your business economically, then you'll be okay, whether it's feast or famine time. And that's one of the things that I really teach my agents is again, I'm not teaching them how to sell houses. I'm teaching them how to be business owners. So that's the secret to breaking the broke code. Your second question.
That's a good segue. The E of economical, and how that relates to the credit stuff, right?
Oh,
in terms
yes.
of moving from 379 to 700. Yeah. So talk about that.
Yeah. So I wasn't quite a 700. I was almost a 700. I think I was somewhere hovered around 680 range within a year. And when you file bankruptcy, you just start over, right? Still 379 credit score, but now you're getting all these offers. So bankruptcy was probably the most exhilarating. It was the most horrifying and the most exhilarating time of my life. So it was horrifying because I owed all these people money. I was overwhelmed. When I went to bankruptcy court, the skies were gloomy and the clouds were gray, and it was just a horrible day. But when I came out, like the birds were singing and the sun was shining and the skies were blue, and it was beautiful because now the weight of the world was off my shoulders. Nobody come after me for nothing. So now it was like a clean slate. And so you just start building your credit little by little. Got a credit card, got 3 credit cards. You use them, don't abuse them. Use them, keep the balances low, because your credit card balance is the second most important thing on your credit outside of payment history or on timely payment history. So just making sure that you keep those payments on time, making sure that you're keeping those credit card balances, and then getting a mixed use of credit. So got a car, got credit cards. I couldn't quite buy a house at the time as of yet. But then when I started investing, I started, investing with cash, or I would use private money lenders and things like that. So that credit, credit is not scary. It's important that we monitor our credit, because a lot of people don't monitor their credit, but there's so many resources out there. There's so many sites, Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, Total, whatever, all of those, all of the different bureaus, you can monitor your credit. So knowing and having that credit health and just paying on time is it's huge. And it's the difference between you having and you not having, unless you got a lot of cash, but wealthy people do not use cash when they're buying stuff. They use leverage, OPM, other people's money. And that's why it's so important to have good credit, so that you don't have to dig in your pockets. I'm an investor, and I just bought a building, a commercial space. And I bought it so here's how I did that. My investment into the dispensary, I call it my weed money. My weed money, I took that. Yeah, I know your girl's a dope dealer, no. So I took a little bit of my weed money. I also use Acorns. Acorns, I managed to build up almost $40,000 in 2 years.
Wow.
So using those sources, right, to be able to use that as part of my leverage everybody can't get into the marijuana dispensary, but everybody can do Acorns. Everybody can have something where they're putting money away that they don't even see. So just using those resources, but credit is going to be the undercurrent that sustains everything. So now, as I'm building out, I'm tired of bootstrapping everything. I don't want to use my own money. I don't have to. So guess what I'm doing? I'm using other people's money to build the space out, to create this incubator, this co-working space, this event space for this building that I just bought. So credit was important for that. So credit is critical in every area of your life. You want to get a car, you want to get a house, you want to get good insurance, your credit is going to be important for that.
Wonderful, wonderful. There are so many additional questions that I could ask you and that I want to ask you, which means that we need to have you back on the show here in the near future to talk about different things, because I think that you have a lot of wisdom. You bring a unique perspective to this, whole wealth and finance and real estate, and just wealth game in general, that I think, our audience, will really benefit from. But before we get out of here, after this short break, I want you to talk about your event, and then I would just want you to talk, give the audience one last piece of wisdom and advice that you would like to share with them.
Okay.
But before we do that, I'm here with Constance Carter. Constance is the CEO of Catalyst Real Estate Professionals. They are the largest African-American owned real estate firm in California. She is also the author of The Secret to Breaking the Broke Code. And she just broke down the broke acronym in the last segment. So if you guys missed that, please go back and watch that as well. And yeah, today we've been talking all about the broke code and how you overcome it. So if you like this video, please go ahead and press the thumbs up button. Show us some love. Matter of fact, on the count of 3, if everyone could press the thumbs up button, I would really appreciate it. 1, 2, 3. Go ahead and press that thumbs up button. Show Constance some love so that YouTube's algorithm can, distribute this video to as many people as possible. All right, Constance, just a couple more things. I know you have an upcoming event in California. So can you tell the audience about that event and then how they can get in touch with you if they want to be a part of that or just want to know more from you?
Absolutely. I'm having the Wealth Empowerment, the We Summit, Wealth Empowerment Summit. It is going to be in the Silicon Valley and featuring thebomb.com, Mr. Boyce Watkins. Does he sound familiar? Do you know that guy? You know that guy? Know him?
Yeah, they know him a little bit.
You know a little bit. So he'll be there. Dr. George Frazier is going to be there, and a host of my super friends from all over the country are going to be there, just disseminating this information of wealth and empowerment to the people in Northern California. We managed to get this great state-of-the-art event space. And it's amazing. I just went by there yesterday, and I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. So they gave us the entire building, which is like 100,000 square feet. I don't know what we're going to do with it. I got to just figure that piece out. But it's an amazing space, and it's right it's like an incubator right in the heart of the Silicon Valley. So it's going to be an amazing event. It's the Wealth Empowerment Summit. This is our 2nd annual. Last year we had Lisa Nichols. I don't know if you know her. She's one of my personal friends, coaches, and mentor. And it was very transformational. And I know that this year is going to be even more transformational, and even more lives are going to be changed as a result. So I'm excited about that. You can get your tickets if you're interested. Go to WeSummit2020.eventbrite.com. That's WeSummit, WeSummit 2020.eventbrite.com. And pick up your tickets there. You do not want to miss this transformational event. I got a lot of beautiful, intelligent thought leaders that have a proven track record of success that are coming to just pour into the people. So super excited about that. That is on 4/4/2020. And we're going to have a VIP for the folks who buy VIP tickets. We're going to have a VIP mixer on the evening before from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. But I'm super excited about it. It's going to be amazing. So that's the We Summit. And then I also do a couple of, everything that I do is really around wealth creation. So I'm doing the Weekend of Wealth Retreat, and that is going to be February the 20th to the 24th. And I'll be also celebrating my 44th birthday during the same time. So I'm excited about that as well. 44 is the number this year. So 44 is the day of my the We Summit. 44 is I'm turning 44 around the time of the WOW retreat, the Weekend of Wealth Retreat, and I'll be doing that along with Susie Carter, who is Carter & Carter. She is an amazing profit coach, profit, Profit, not Prophet. She's the profit coach, and she's coached Lisa Nichols, she's coached Paul Mitchell, she's coached Steve Harvey, and 100,000 other entrepreneurs. She was one of my personal coaches and helped me to scale and up-level my business. So it's going to be fantastic. That's in Napa. That's February 20th through the 23rd, and we're also going to do one in Costa Rica in May. And if you want to take your wealth game to the next level, then you need to be at one of these retreats. That is going to really get in and help you steer your direction to whatever it is that you want. So you want a 6-figure, 7-figure business, you need to be there.
All right, I'm tired. I need to go take a nap because you done dropped about 5, 6, 7, 8 events over here. And I have no idea how you get them all done.
I have no
So
idea either. I have
I'm
no
gonna
idea.
follow the Watkins tradition. Boyce and I, we're gonna go take us some naps after
I
listening
love
to
it.
that. But I think it's awesome,
I love it.
and awesome. Jake Neely. Jake says, "I'm motivated to study more. Thank you, family.
All right,
Appreciate the
Jay.
gems." Mano Fresh mentioned as well. Jake calls
Come
you
on, Lena.
Superwoman. Yeah. So there were a lot of good comments up in there.
Thank you for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining me and listening to something that a little girl from San Jose like me got to say. So I appreciate it.
Then we always end with this question. What is your best piece of advice that you would give to our audience, those who may be struggling or starting entrepreneurship? What would you say to them?
I would say invest in yourself. That's it. Simply invest in yourself. You want results, but you don't want to make the investments. And that's not just financially, but financially is important, but it's the time, everything. You just gotta just put everything into it and understand that you are your biggest commodity, you are your biggest investment. And so take the risk. Go all in for yourself. Ain't nobody else gonna do it. You gotta be the one.
Wonderful, wonderful. So we would like to thank Mrs. Constance Carter, the CEO of Catalyst Real Estate Professionals. They are the largest African-American owned real estate firm in California. Constance is also the author of The Secret to Breaking the Broke Code, and that was the title of today's presentation and interview. So before you get out of here, please go ahead and press the thumbs up button and show us some love. I would also like to thank our corporate sponsor, the Black Business School. And at the Black Business School, we don't just help you climb the corporate ladder, we help you build one as well. So what we do is help African Americans obtain a culturally relevant yet practical education in all things wealth building at a price they can afford. So whether you're looking for additional freedom in your life to spend more time with your family, to travel the world, we have courses and classes for you. If you want to leave a legacy behind to your family, in your community, or you just want additional stability and safety going into your golden retirement years, the Black Business School has courses and offerings for you. We focus our courses on 3 main pillars of wealth building. So those are entrepreneurship, so small business entrepreneurship, real estate investing, and stock investing. We also have courses related to personal finance and credit, things like that as well. So please make sure you head over to theblackbusinessschool.com. That is theblackbusinessschool.com to learn more. So on behalf of Constance Carter, my name is Lawrence Watkins. I am the founder and CEO of Great Black Speakers Bureau. I'm also the president and chief operating officer of the Black Business School. You guys take care, be blessed, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.